Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning, and we made it to Friday. It's a Friday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We're going to kick it off here in just a minute with JC on the Titan MR Hotline. We're going to be joined second part of the program today, talk a little NFL with our pro football focus, Steve Palazzolo. Get his thoughts on the game last night. I'm sure there's a lot of folks that if you stayed up, you're very tired. I did not stay up. I went to bed about middle of third quarter. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the Gators and other games around the country. But let's go to the Titan MR Hotline, and we're joined by JC. Good morning, JC. How are you?
Hey. Yeah, good, great. Yeah, I stayed up, QB. I was one of those that stayed up and watched it. And I think the NFL has to be very happy with the way the season has started for them, because that was a great game. And I think you've got two playoff teams on that field last night. I believe I picked Dallas to win the East. I think they will. I think their offense is very good. If they stay healthy, they're a playoff team. Tampa Bay is everything as advertised. They should be. So many weapons now with Antonio Brown joining Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on the outside, with Brady just doing what he does. Gronkowski was involved. And you just had a very entertaining game last night, QB. I don't think there should be any doubts anymore about Dak Prescott. I've gone ahead and accepted him in the NFL. The guy threw for 400 yards last night, 3 touchdowns. And listen, I think he's got what he wants. He's got the contract he was looking for. I think that's behind him now. And I think if he stays healthy, he's going to be a really effective quarterback, especially playing in the NFC East when you've got the Eagles twice and you've got the Giants twice. So, listen, I think it's a tough loss for Dallas, but I think Dallas will they will win that division if they stay healthy. They have to stay healthy. They're prone to injuries. I think Tampa Bay looks great in the NFC South. Great night for the NFL last night. Packed house in Tampa. I don't know what else you could ask for.
Yeah, it was a good game. Prescott is very much improved as a passer. There's no question about it. Oh, yeah. But here's what I will say. I thought both secondaries were garbage. Absolutely horrible.
Well, you know how the defenses are in the NFL, QB.
Well, I know that, but it goes to show you how these two teams don't think the running back position is that important. When your quarterbacks throw for 108 attempts in a game,
it's a lot of passing. Yeah,
that is a lot. So that's the way of the world now. That's why people say you shouldn't draft a running back in the first or second round in the National Football League anymore, because the game has changed. So we'll see. I'm not going to crown the Cowboys as the East champs. Yeah, they got to still deal with the Washington Redskins. I'm telling you. Yeah,
there's no doubt. I agree that Washington's defense is as good as there is in the league, and I agree with you there. But I think if Dallas stays healthy, that's their biggest thing, because their offense is dynamic. I think Godwin got away with a pass interference call there late in the game as they were heading down to kick the game-winning field goals, about a 25-yard pattern down the sideline there, and the Dallas Cowboy defender just got thrown out of the play, and they didn't call that as PI. If they had called that as pass interference, that could have changed the outcome of the game. Dallas missed a very short chip shot field goal and an extra point. That accounts for 4 points right there. However, they did make a couple long ones. So, it just the way it is in the NFL, QB, it just seems like to me when you've got teams that are very equal, it seems like these games will get down to the last 3 minutes, last 2 minutes, and be decided at that point in many cases. I don't know how it works out this way, but these NFL games always seem to come down when they're really close to who has the ball at the very end. And Dallas did not keep it long enough, and Tampa Bay got Brady with a minute and a half left to win.
Here's a stat for you, JC, and I don't know if it's still true or not, but I'll never forget this. In all the damn meetings I sat through in the NFL, there's one stat that these coaches, they give you all these crazy stats, and half the guys are asleep and half the guys ain't paying attention. But this one struck me. It said, and I forgot which coach gave this out there, but 79% of the games in the National Football League are decided by 3 points or less.
Yeah.
Now
That's
that was 20 something years ago, but you got to think it's still roughly around those same numbers.
Yeah, this is why you don't see big spreads in this league, and nothing like what you see in college, of course. And that makes sense to me. I mean, these spreads and totals generally hang around the 40s, mid 40s, upper 40s, and low 50s in most cases. And these spreads are usually inside of 6 points. And now there are a few this weekend that are close to or above 6, but most of this stuff it's about trying to create parity, and that's what the league does every year with the draft. That's what they try to do anyway. So we'll see, but I think that you still have the teams that seem to be consistent. You still have the teams, consistent both winning and losing. I mean, the Chicago Bears haven't won the Super Bowl since 1984. So we had a team last year that looked awful in a few games against the Rams and Saints, end up as a wild card team in the NFC and win the Super Bowl. So parity is primarily the way the NFL likes to operate, and it seems to be working. And I think last night was a great display. We've also had some bad ones, in the NFL, of course. But boy, last night's game was entertaining. It had everything you want if you love offense, and a packed house in Tampa. This is the first time fans in Tampa have actually got to watch Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski connect for a touchdown. Outside of whoever got into the Super Bowl last year. So it was a big treat for those folks in Tampa. And by the way, in about 2 weeks, their baseball team's about to win the American League East. So it's and they're still celebrating the Stanley Cup. I mean, what a place to be in Tampa if you love sports. And that city has some winners going on right now.
And the Gators will be in Tampa tomorrow.
And the Facebook Gators will be there tomorrow. There you go.
That's right. Facebook Live brought to you by Melton Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Coach Dwayne Dixon checking in today. How you doing, Coach? I don't know who the Ohio Bobcats have. Coach, you should probably be in a meeting right now. I think Coach Double D, he's skipping his staff meeting to listen to our podcast.
Well, he's a smart guy, isn't he?
Yeah. Russell jokingly asked, did Zerline play for Alabama? No, maybe Florida State.
Hey, that's a great statement, because Alabama used to have field goal kicker problems, but the guy they got now didn't miss one last year or an extra point, and didn't miss in the game against Miami. They've got a kicker. So, but I understand the point. I do. All
right, we got a text here on the Titan Mark text line. It says, "Happy Friday, fellas." Well, clearly Brady should have retired last year. That dude can still make all the throws. Ripping it down the seams and floaters to the sidelines. It's crazy to think that Arians and Gronk have both retired. Brady is well past the normal expiration date for QBs, and nobody would touch Antonio Brown. And now they're all key cogs for Tampa. It's going to be fun watching their offense every week. JC, your Super Bowl pick, the Jags should get one of their 2 wins this weekend versus the Texans. Enjoy 1-0 while you can. Thanks for the text,
Who said
Ryan.
that? Who said? Ryan. Ryan? Okay, God bless you, Ryan. Thank you for watching. I think Tampa, man. I also think you're going to see the Saints if they can figure out how to not, falter during this time away from New Orleans. I mean, they're not going to be able to play in the Dome or in that city for over a month, it looks like, or more, and playing in Jacksonville where seats are plenty available. Because, listen, there's not many Saints or Packers fans in Jacksonville. It's tough because it's away from home. So, they'll be traveling every week. But I think if the Saints can stay with it defensively and offensively, they could be a team that look, they dominated Tampa Bay twice last year until the playoff game when they got dominated. So Tampa turned it on at the right time.
All right. Well, the Gators are going down tomorrow. 1 o'clock kickoff against South Florida. I'm sure everyone has seen by now the helmets they'll be wearing, or the decals. They're wearing their white helmets with a Gator script with the American flag within the Gators script. So good tribute there. A lot of the staff members will be wearing red, white, and blue tennis shoes on the sideline as well. And I'm sure you're going to see tributes all across the country tomorrow. It's hard to believe how long
20 years ago.
Yeah.
20 years ago. And everybody who remembers that day knows exactly where they were when it happened. And, I find it, I'll stay away from some of the things I want to say about what's going on currently because this isn't the forum for that. But we are certainly going to be recognizing that day tomorrow and move on.
Yep. For sure. We got a Facebook Live here. John says, is JC supporting the Hawkeyes today? Giving away his college game day pick?
Well, I love both these schools. I mean, it was tough for me to throw this one on instead of the Iowa State Cyclone hat. I love both these schools. I mean, you're talking about.
Why the hell do you like both of those schools?
Well, I love Iowa State because of what they did to help Alabama win a national title not too long ago when they beat Oklahoma State at home in a huge upset. But I like Iowa because I've always loved their jerseys, where they play.
Oh, I hate their uniforms.
Well, they look like the Steelers. It's the same thing.
I hate them. Be original.
But
do your own thing.
But here's the thing: Iowa and Iowa State. You know, it's really true what they say about Iowa. If you haven't been to if you haven't been to the end of the world, when you get to Iowa, you're close. And I think it's but it feeds the world, man. This is the state that feeds the world, or one of them, and certainly. These football teams are quite good. And listen, when you think about where is Iowa, you know that Iowa borders Minnesota, and they get college football players in that state, which is flat. It has Zippo in it, and they've got football players in that state, in Ames and in Iowa City. And I'm impressed with that place, and I think it's going to be a great game. It's a big rivalry. They always play it early in the year, like Florida and Miami. Florida and Miami used to open the season at times. And Florida and Miami used to have a great rivalry. Iowa and Iowa State have that. And it's a cross-state rivalry with two schools in different conferences. And I certainly think it'll be a great game, and it should be one of the highlighted games, which we will highlight on our picks today.
Yep, turn your car or truck into a rolling billboard for your business or brand with an eye-catching vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot this September. Mention promo code Shane, receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. Speaking with JC on the Titan MR hotline, we'll be joined with Steve Palazzolo from Pro Football Focus. If you got any questions regarding the National Football League, shoot them to us. John says on Facebook Live, I like Iowa State. They don't recruit well.
Yeah.
They don't have facilities. They just go out there and win. Very true. Let me go before we get to our Peachland Dentistry picks here in a minute, JC. I want to go ahead and do This Day in Sports, brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Comfort Temp's now hiring. Great culture and benefits, opportunity for growth, $1,000 signing bonus for qualified positions. Give Comfort Temp a call, 352-376-2366. This Day in Sports, 1989. 5 days after hitting a home run for your beloved Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
And a 12-2 win over the Mariners. Mm-hmm. This guy named Deion Sanders returns a punt, 68 yards for a touchdown, his first in the National Football League. Remember when Deion used to go, he'd play a game and then he'd fly and go play a football game?
Deion Sanders was the greatest athlete I'd ever see play sports. In football, he was the most dynamic I've ever seen play. And in baseball, is anybody surprised he couldn't do that either? But he was the best athlete I'd ever seen play. And there's just no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, now he's coaching up the Tigers of Jackson State.
Jackson State, and he wants to be a coach. He's got a Nick Saban commercial he's in with Aflac. I mean, so somehow he's really made a name for himself as a head coach there at QB. Look how
I don't know if that has anything to do with doing a head coach. I think it's because it's prime time.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. But now look, Florida. What kind of crowd do you think we're going to have down there? 1 o'clock.
What is it? What does that stadium hold?
It's right in the mid 60s, 65, something like that.
I bet there'll be. My guess is 50,000. And I think 45,000 will be Gators.
45,000 will be Florida. Yeah, they had 65,566 last night. First time I think the place has been sold out in over a decade. And 50,000 tomorrow for the game. And listen, Florida is one of my we're picking that game, and it's one of the games I really like as much as any other on the board. And I hate laying big numbers, man, but this game with USF,
they're playing one of the worst teams in Division I football.
That's right. I mean, it's just that simple. That team won one game last year, and they've just been on the decline. I think they're trying hard. That coach from Clemson, who's there now, Scott
Jeff
Wells,
Scott.
I think is the name. Yes, Jeff Scott. Excuse me.
His dad was Brad Scott, who coached at Florida State. So.
Right. Who also coached at South Carolina. Yeah, Jeff Scott. Listen, I think it's going to take some time. I think they have a chance. They've got to find a way to get an on-campus facility started there, or at least news of one. And I think they're hoping for an invite from the Big 12. UCF has got one now.
They're not getting
that rivalry going. They probably won't, but Not anytime soon, anyway. Yeah, but I'm happy for BYU. I'm happy for UCF. I'm definitely happy for Houston and Cincinnati. I think that will improve the conference. I think it's good that it's happening, and it will keep the Big 12 alive on the TV deals that they're going to swing for the next, however many years when their current deal comes up. And I still want to press you on Texas and Oklahoma. I mean, you haven't told me why, but you still believe they're coming next year, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. These dudes are killing you on that Facebook Live, JC. Bo Jackson is greater than Deion Sanders.
But well, I mean, that's close. That's close. But Bo Jackson, played a different position to Deion, and I think Bo, he had some injury issues as a running back, and certainly he was everything. He was great, but Deion Sanders had there's something about that guy that was different than any of them, and he had a better pro career. He had a great college career, and I'm not just saying anything bad about Bo, but Bo got hurt, and Bo was great in baseball.
I think Bo had a better baseball career.
He did. He absolutely did. No question. He actually played on the All-Star game, and he could hit a ball farther than anybody I've ever seen, and so that is true. But Deion Sanders returned punts. Deion Sanders played defense. Deion Sanders could have played offense if he wanted to, and the thing is that this guy was as fast as Bo. And I would also submit that there was a better running back out there than Bo, and his name was Walker. So because Walker was durable, and Walker could pull away from anybody just as easily as Bo. But Bo is right there. He's on the Mount Rushmore of just pure athleticism. It's Deion. It's definitely Bo. And then we can go from there. But certainly Deion, man. Deion and Bo. I'm not going to disagree with that. Yeah.
All right, let's jump into our Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. It's time for JC and the QB weekend picks. JC, you sit at 10-6. I'm at 6-10.
That's right.
All right, so what do we got this week?
Let's go.
So we have. I have no idea what games we're picking.
Week two is a little less of the highlighted type of feature game that we had, obviously, in week one. And then next week, we're going to get into some good conference football. But we have some great interconference action here, a couple of conference games, and we've got 10 to pick with 2 NFL games. So we're going to start it off with the Pittsburgh Panthers, who I think are a team you better not sleep on, playing at Tennessee. In Rocky Top, the Vols are the home team, and they are getting 3 points. Who do you like there?
I see blowout city. Pitt Panthers are going to destroy them.
I like Pitt too, man. That quarterback, 6-year senior, and he can sling it. He's going to play in the league. Texas comes to Arkansas. The Hogs are getting 7. They have sold out that stadium for the first time in years. Arkansas and Texas once had a great rivalry in the Big 8. This is a game renewed, and the fans are thrilled. And I think Texas is back. I think Texas will be a threat to beat Oklahoma this year, next year, and the year after. I think this coach has got it together. I'm not buying the Hogs yet. Give me the Longhorns. They will cover the spread, win by 10.
Unfortunately, I like Texas too because Arkansas is going to miss their 2 best players on defense in the first half.
Texas -7.
So I'll take the Longhorns, just better.
Here's another one we're both going to agree on. North Carolina State at Mississippi State. The funniest quote I heard last week was Mike Leach saying that we tried to give up, but then we figured out we had nothing better to do, so we decided to play the rest of the game. But we tried to give up, or tried to quit, I think is what he said. Mississippi State's only getting 2 here, but NC State's, I think, a real solid team. I'm going to take them and lay the 2 points. I'm not believing in Mississippi State yet.
All right, I'm not believing in NC State either because they did hammer one of the worst teams in America. I'm going to take the Dogs at home. Real quick, we got a Facebook Live brought to you by Mellon Law. Coach Double D, Dwayne Dixon, obviously is skipping his staff meeting to join in. He said his daughter, Brittany, was part of the advising group who put the Aflac commercial together with Coach Prime and Coach Saban. Okay.
Well, hey, way to go, Brittany. I mean, getting paid, baby. That's a good job. Good job. You must be proud of your daughter there, Coach. Dwayne Dixon, one of the greatest wide receivers ever in Florida, along with Wes Chandler. Yeah, I don't know if you remember Wes Chandler, QB, but I do.
I remember Wes Chandler when he played for the Saints.
No, man. He also played for the Chargers.
I understand that, but I didn't grow up watching Wes Chandler. until he played for the Saints.
Probably the most incredible pair of hands you'll ever see in your life. But Dwayne Dixon is right there with him. Missouri at Kentucky. The Cats laying 5.5, baby. That's a lot of points for the Cats. But man, that that guy is for real. Kentucky is huge up front. They got some players on the outside. I'm buying the Kentucky Wildcats, dude. They're going to cover this spread.
I love Kentucky in this game.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go with the Wildcats. They could be a real threat in the East. We'll see, though. They've got to play a scrappy Missouri team. Here's a pretty good game, but I don't think it'll be close. Oregon at Ohio State. And the Buckeyes, there's a tricky little hook on the end of that number. It's 14.5. That's a lot of points to a talented Oregon Ducks team. What do you got there, man? That's in Ohio.
I like the Buckeyes because I don't like Oregon's quarterback. He played at Boston College. I just don't think they're explosive enough on offense. We don't know about their stud, if he's going to be able to play the defensive end. I'm not buying the Pac-12 right now, and I think Ohio State wins this game by 20.
All right, I'm going to take the points, but I'm shaky on this one, very shaky. Here's another Pac-12 game that looked great before it was scheduled, or when it was scheduled, but now, after what happened last week, the Washington Huskies at Michigan -7. Michigan loses their best player on the outside, Ronnie Bell. Great wide receiver. I thought that guy played a great game. He's very talented. He will not be playing for the rest of the season, but the Wolverines are laying 7 to the Huskies, who lost to Montana last week.
Yeah, I mean, they were ranked number 20 in America, too.
They were.
You would think Washington would come back and play well.
+7.
I have a hard time taking the Michigan Wolverines, but I am. I'm just not a Pac-12 believer right now, except the only Pac-12 team I believe in right now is UCLA.
Yep. UAB at Georgia.
Who did you take?
I took Washington. I'm sorry. Thank you for asking. Yes, I took Washington getting the 7 because I don't believe in Michigan. UAB, I don't believe in Washington either. I don't really believe in any of those teams. UAB at Georgia. The only question here is 24.5 points. That's an awful lot of points, man.
I like the Blazers. I think Georgia's going to play flat.
Gosh,
and
when can we get
UAB is coached extremely well.
I do too, and I love Georgia, but man, I think UAB will score enough to cover that number. Texas A&M at Colorado +17 in Boulder.
It ain't in Boulder; it's in Denver.
Excuse me, Denver. Sorry, it's in Colorado.
I'm going with my prediction of the SEC champs. I think they're going to lay the wood to Colorado.
The SEC champs. Oh, poor QB. Another disappointing season.
I don't give a damn if they win it or not. I'm just picking them.
The SEC champs. All right. I think so, too. They just got too many players for Colorado. Here's the game of the week.
Hang on real quick. John has a question here. Will JT Daniels play? Word is he will not. Carson Beck out of Jacksonville, I believe, is going to start. I think Georgia wins that game, but I think it's going to be – I think Georgia's going to be really flat. UAB, really solid little football team. I think it'll be a closer game than people think.
And I got to say, UAB is one of those schools, unlike Vanderbilt, who, if we give them a little cash and they'll make the most of it, while Vanderbilt will throw theirs into something else, and that's going to happen probably. Iowa at Iowa State. Iowa State laying 4.5 at home. Unimpressive last week against Northern Iowa. They just don't need to play Northern Iowa, but I think they're still a good team. I think Iowa's a good team. I think they will win the Big Ten West. I think they'll beat Wisconsin and Minnesota for that. I like Iowa. Getting 4.5, man. That's one of my favorites this weekend. Iowa.
I'm gonna take the Cyclones. Iowa got 2 pick sixes, but from the same guy. I think Iowa State may have been looking ahead. I think they're going to play well. They're ranked 6th or 7th in America. I think they play like it this week.
Matt Campbell's not beaten the Hawkeyes yet as head coach of the Cyclones. Florida laying 28.5. This was another one of my favorite picks on another podcast, along with the Iowa game. I got the Gators. They're going to win by 40. You may be bored in the second half, honestly, watching this. But Florida will cover that.
Name your score.
Yeah, name your score. Florida will cover 28.5. I don't think Vegas really understands how bad USF is, which surprises me because Vegas is Vegas. We've got 2 NFL games to pick real quick, QB. NFL games of the week. Great game, I think, up in Buffalo this weekend. Pittsburgh at the Bills. I think that division, the AFC North, is going to be really tough with Cleveland, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and even Cincinnati has a chance to shake things up a little bit in that division. I think Buffalo's division is improved with New England being better this year. I think the Dolphins and the Bills will fight it out. Pittsburgh is getting 6.5. Roethlisberger's healthy. I'm taking the Steelers. It's a tough pick, but I like the 6.5. So give me the Steelers.
I'm going to go with the Bills Mafia. I like the Buffalo Bills to go to the Super Bowl. I think
yes, you do.
Didn't I say the Bills were going to win the Super Bowl?
You did to beat my Rams. Yes, you did.
Yeah. I love Josh Allen. I love their offense. That's a team that may throw it 55 times.
That's true.
Sunday.
But they have runners. Zach Moss and Devin Singletary are very effective.
So you're going to sit here. You're going to sit here and tell me that the Bucs and the Cowboys don't have running backs?
No. But I think you'll see Buffalo use these guys. That's the way that the game's changed,
man.
Yeah, it seems that way.
The only team that's going to run the football consistently are the Tennessee Titans.
Right. Cleveland at Kansas City. The Chiefs laying 5.5. 2 straight Super Bowl trips for Kansas City in successive years. They've revamped their offensive line. But speaking of offensive lines, the word is Cleveland has the best in the league. I don't know why. That's just what I've heard. But you're giving them 5.5 points on the road. I think they're going to play with KC. It's going to be a closer game. I think it's a field goal game. So I'll take the 5.5.
Yeah, I like the Browns, too. It wouldn't surprise me if the Browns win the game.
Okay, over your beloved Pat Mahomes. How about that?
I know. Well, I mean, hey, he can't win them all. I mean, he'll probably go 16-1. He could lose this game.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there you have it, folks. Those are our picks. So we agreed on every game except you took Mississippi State over NC State. I've got the Wolfpack. You took the Buckeyes. I took the points with Oregon. You took the Wolverines. I took the points with Washington. We agreed on everything else. Iowa State, you laid the 4.5. I got the Hawkeyes. And then we both picked the Browns, but you took Buffalo laying 6.5, and I've got the Steelers on the NFL opening weekend. Here we are, bud.
We got a text here on the Titan More text line. It comes from Daryl. Daryl says, Shane, does JC have stock in Fanatics.com? I have Cowbell Nation over NC State. So he's picking the Dogs.
All right. Well, listen, I'm going to root for Mississippi State, absolutely, but I just don't think they're good. I think they are just their quarterback play, their defense. Can
I ask you a question? What makes you think NC State's good?
Well, listen, NC State, nothing really. I mean, I just think that maybe NC State has a little bit better defense, maybe. It seems like you can do whatever you want to against Mississippi State. Now that last year wasn't the case. They had no offensive production. Maybe they'll be better. They are the home team, but I don't think that's going to matter. Now, look, I'm rooting for the Dogs. I hope I lose that pick, frankly. I do.
John says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mountain Law, QB has me doubting my fantasy running back draft picks. Look, I know you're supposed to take running backs early, but
you got to.
And that's one game, but I mean, when's the last time you saw 2 quarterbacks in a tight game, not like a blowout where the team is trying to come from behind and throw it 58 and 50 times?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's just the way the game is now played, and defenses have very little hope. I think you saw in that last drive. It's almost like whoever gets the ball last, with over a minute to go and 2 timeouts, is going to kick a field goal. It just feels that way. And I think it feels that way because we see it all the time. And the reason why is because it's easy to pass, even against nickel packages and 6 DBs and everything else. It just seems that way. I don't know if Godwin interfered on that pass play last night that set them up for the touchdown, but I think it could have been called. It absolutely could have been called. The Dallas defender was flying off his body there. So they didn't call it. So that set up Tampa, and they won. Boom. It's over. Both teams played great. I think Dallas is a team to keep your eye on this year for sure.
Yep. So in our Peachland Dentistry picks, Peachland Dental, we have 5 different picks. So make sure you tune in every Friday for the JC and the QB Peachland Dental weekend picks.
Eager.
A couple things before we let you go here. Dan says Zeke will get some yards, just not against Tampa. I do agree with that. Joseph says, JC, you were the biggest Mississippi State fan during baseball season. Don't jump ship now.
Well, their baseball team is better than their football team, but yes, I love watching the dog. I think everybody was rooting for Mississippi State to win it last year, and they did. They dominated, man, and that was great to see. After losing that first game to Vanderbilt, they came back and smoked them. So it took a lot out of them, and they did it.
All right, JC, good stuff.
Right.
Enjoy the games this weekend. We're going to take our first time out of the program. We come back.
What's our score? What? We didn't even do the Florida score. We didn't do the Florida score. Don't we usually do the score?
We don't, but we can.
Okay, I've got 49-6. 49-6.
I got 52-3. You got 49-6.
Got it. Wow, that's great. Okay. Okay, next week it's gonna get heated next week. Next week we're gonna have something to talk about.
All right, that's JC. Join us on the Titan More Hotline. Going to take our first time out. Come back. We'll be joined by Pro Football Focus Steve Palazzolo talking a little National Football League.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Nike, Bass Pro Shops, Regal Cinemas, Le Macaron French Pastries, Dave & Buster's, Palmetto Moon, and now open the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Make your reservations today at spurriersgridirongrill.com. We will see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. And just a note on there, they're going to open up. They're normally not open for lunch. They're going to open up tomorrow, I think, early. So if people want to watch the game, you can go check it out. Let's go to the Titan More Hotline. We are going to be joined by Pro Football Focus Steve Palazzolo. Good morning, Steve. How are you, buddy?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, gosh, Steve, I mean, I don't think the NFL could have kicked off the season any better than they did last night. I was talking to JC earlier in the show. I can't remember the last time I saw a National Football League game where the two quarterbacks in a competitive game threw the ball 108 times. Is that the way that the league's going to be this year, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's setting the tone for the entire league. You're talking about a Bucs team that has as good of a group of playmakers, I think, as I've ever seen, and the Cowboys with, right up there with them as far as a trio of receivers, even though Michael Gallup got banged up. So I think it's kind of the nature of those two teams. I think we'll see the NFL trend this way a little bit, though. I mean, look, running the ball is just not as efficient as passing the ball. There's just no debating it at this point. The pass sets up the run. You have to score points in today's NFL. It's the best strategy, to throw the ball through the air the way the rules are right now, the way coaches are able to scheme it up. Yeah, I think we'll see a lot more passing as we go in today's NFL. But last night was a special display of great playmakers and just outstanding quarterbacks with Brady and Dak going head to head.
Yeah, no question. All right, so let's look into the future here. When you look at this year's, is there a surprise team that you have on your radar?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of a surprise they are. The Denver Broncos are interesting to me. because I think their whole roster is really good, and it'll come down to Teddy Bridgewater if he could play efficient football. But I think when you watch last night's game and you're like, man, look at all these dudes at receiver. Denver's close there with Cortland Sutton coming back and Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler and Noah Fant at tight end. If Teddy Bridgewater could play efficient football, I think the Broncos could be a really tough team because they got a solid defense, and they've built a good squad. It just comes down to that quarterback play there.
Were you surprised they named Teddy Bridgewater the starter?
No, I wasn't. I mean, I haven't been a huge Drew Lock fan. I think if you're comparing the two, I think Drew Lock's a little bit more volatile. He'll push the ball down the field for better or for worse. Sometimes to Broncos, sometimes to the other team. Teddy is a bit more of that game manager type, but that might be what is needed here. A guy that's just going to distribute, hit some throws, not turn it over. Not that Teddy's perfect in that area, but I think they brought him in for a reason. I think he is an upgrade over Drew Lock. There's still a question about what the long-term answer is, but I wasn't surprised as far as Bridgewater being the guy there.
I want to get your thoughts. Okay, there's a lot of rookie quarterbacks in this past draft. There was a 4 or 5 in the first round draft. Mac Jones. I watched him in preseason. I thought he was clearly the better quarterback over Cam Newton. Let's start with him. Were you surprised that they released Cam and named Mac the starter?
I was, yeah. I agree with you. I mean, Mac Jones was better than Cam Newton. I also thought Cam Newton looked a lot better in this Patriot system than he did last year. And I thought that they'd roll with him and add that element of the run game. The Patriots, people forget how difficult the Patriots were to stop on the goal line last year with Cam Newton, an outstanding offensive line. They're a good group of running backs. I thought Belichick might tap into that versatility and say, okay, year 2 with Cam in the system, he'll be better. Better group of playmakers and add that run game element, and you can ease Mac Jones in. But I think the more the Patriots threw at Mac Jones, I mean, their very first game, he's running no huddle. And Shane, I don't know how difficult that is to just be able to run the offense and then have it at your fingertips and run no huddle in your first ever game as a rookie. But the Patriots threw things at him. He had that legendary joint practice against the Giants where he went 35 for 40 against the starters, for whatever that's worth. But they threw a lot at him, and he kept succeeding. He kept answering the call. So impressive preseason for Mac Jones. I can't wait to see what he can carry into the regular season here.
Yeah, I think what helped Mac is having Sarkisian, with a lot of that terminology and sight adjustments and the things
right.
You mentioned, the no huddle that Alabama ran. Is pretty much an NFL offense, helped him. We got a quick Facebook Live here for you, Steve, brought to you by Meldon Law. John asked, Steve, I love all the stats and numbers that y'all put out at PFF. How much time goes into breaking all that film down?
Oh, man, people are doing it right now. We have a real-time version where people get this initial run, and then we have a review. I think it's something like 30 man-hours per NFL game. It's closer to 40 or 50 it's a little bit longer for college just because the game's longer, but with all of our review processes, it's actually probably 30 or 40 man-hours of per game as far as the NFL. So each play gets watched so many times.
Y'all are grading every player on every play, correct?
Correct. We collect a ton of data, but we also grade every player on every play. So when everybody's complaining on Twitter because Tom Brady threw a pick that was either a Hail Mary or it was dropped by the running back, we are making sure that he properly does not get deducted for that he's not getting a bad grade just because it was interception, or when a guy makes a great throw and it's dropped, that he's getting proper credit. So yeah, grading every player from a production standpoint on every single play.
So the same person is grading every player on the tape that he's watching?
We'll have one person per side of the ball do a first pass. We'll have then we have a review team that is just pass game, that is just pass rushing versus pass protection, and then a review team that's just run game. So there's all sets of eyes that are specialists reviewing every play, and if there's any discrepancies, we have like the grand group of analysis review guys, a group of just a handful of guys reviewing those plays. So yeah, each play goes through the ringer to make sure we're seeing the game through the same eyes as much as possible.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, back to the rookie quarterbacks. I've loved this kid since he was a freshman at Brigham Young. I thought he was going to be sensational. I watched him in the preseason, Steve. I thought he was great. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the Jets skill players. I don't know if they have anybody that can help him. but I really like what I saw from Zach Wilson. Am I crazy, or you think he's going to be a good player?
No, I don't think you're crazy at all. A lot of our projections, as much as we love Trevor Lawrence and understand the talents that Trevor Lawrence has, a lot of our projections said, look, Zach Wilson could be the best guy of this group. And I'm with you. I caught him late night, I think when he was a freshman, just saw him zipping around a little bit. I was like, okay, yeah, there's something here. And then I think he was okay for a couple of years, battled injuries, but he was just special last year at BYU. So, yeah, I was very impressed with Zach Wilson during the preseason as well. I thought he worked quickly. He certainly has the thing the NFL is looking for is a little bit of that off structure when it's not there, throw off balance, be able to attack every part of the field. I think Zach Wilson has all that. And the Jets have done a better job of building around him. This should be the best offensive line the Jets have had in a few years. Poor Sam Darnold, whatever it's worth, did not have a good situation at any point. And then the Jets bring in Corey Davis. They draft Elijah Moore. They should have a better group of playmakers and a better offensive line than they trotted out there with in any of the 3 years that Sam Darnold was there. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to Zach Wilson this season.
And I think the other quarterback that a lot of people are wondering why he's not getting the start. Are you surprised that the Bears aren't going to start Justin Fields over Andy Dalton?
No, I think the hype is a little bit much. I think each team has to do what's best for their first-round quarterback. And, the Bears winning week 1 of 2021 or week 2 even matters nothing in the long-term, prospects of the Bears. It should be whatever's best for Justin Fields. And that offensive line looks like one of the league's worst right now due to some injuries and some offseason turnover. So I think the Bears should do whatever's best for Justin Fields. And if that means sit a few weeks, if it means sit 10 weeks, whatever that is, they should do what's best for him, and then he'll take over and he'll be the guy. I think he's a dynamic playmaker. He's got to work a little bit quicker through his reads, take fewer hits. But we saw Justin Fields has some special plays in him. But, about quarterbacking, it's not about the special plays. It's about 40, 45, 50 plays over and over and over again. And I think that's where Fields has to clean some things up. But he's got the talent to do it all.
Yeah. We're speaking with Steve Palazzolo here on the Titan MR Hotline. A few more minutes with him. Steve, I want to look at the 3 NFL teams. We don't need to talk about the Bucs. We all know about the Bucs. I think everybody thinks they have a very good chance of repeating. I want to go down south to Miami. Tua is going to start, but there was all this talk in the last several weeks about them trying to trade for Deshaun Watson. Was there any truth to that?
Oh, I'm sure there was some truth to that. And if I'm running an NFL organization, I know the human element is tough. You want your quarterback to be confident and all that stuff. But off-field aside, which is a part of the Watson conversation, the easiest way to being a very good NFL team is having a high-end quarterback. And if a Deshaun Watson's available, when Russell Wilson's upset on the Dan Patrick Show, when Aaron Rodgers is teasing, you have to inquire about those players. You just have to do it. And it doesn't mean you don't believe in Tua. It just means, hey, there might be a better guy out there. We have to explore it. So I could see that being the case. And then you circle back to Tua and say, look, you're the guy. Go do it here in year 2. He's got a lot to prove, I believe, as far as he was a little inconsistent as a rookie. Certainly, coming off his injury and everything, maybe that was expected, but it's a big year for Tua, adding the playmakers that they added, Jalen Waddle and Will Fuller, and the way they've surrounded him with some talent. So looking forward to seeing what that Dolphins offense looks like.
Looking at the Jags, they get probably one of the worst teams in the league. They get the Texans the first week, actually Sunday. Yeah. How many games do you think Urban and Trevor Lawrence can win in year 1?
I think they have 7, 8, 9 wins. I think they have the ability.
Really?
Yeah, I think Lawrence is really going to elevate them. I really believe it. Now, I don't know. Urban was funny on the sideline in preseason. I don't know if we're overrating it. He doesn't handle losing and all that stuff. But I think Trevor Lawrence, he's a good decision maker, and he's a big play guy. And if they let him throw the ball around, he can work the back shoulder game. Again, I always use the phrase attack every level of the field. And when you watch Trevor Lawrence play, that is it, right? You have to cover every level of the field because he's got a special arm. He can get outside the pocket. He can run a little bit. He can make all the throws. If the Jags tap into that, they have a good group of playmakers too. Offensive line's going to be a little bit better, returning all their starters, but it was one of the worst pass blocking offensive lines in the league last year. But I think they have the ability, especially, AFC South, they should have some opportunities. So I think Lawrence can elevate them right away. There'll be some ups and downs, but I think he has a chance to elevate them right away and make them a much better team than they were last year.
All right, before we let you go, I want to touch on 3 Gators in their rookie year. I didn't get to see a lot of these guys play in the preseason. I want your thoughts on how you think they will fit in for their team. Obviously, Kyle Pitts in Atlanta. You think he's a good fit for them?
Oh man, yeah. I really wish they still had Julio just to see those two together and Calvin Ridley. But Pitts is going to steal a bunch of those Julio targets. I can't wait to see how they use him, moving him around. But he had that one catch in preseason and just looked so fast. So he looks NFL fast. That's always a good checkbox when you see a rookie go to the NFL. I expect Pitts to be special right away.
What about Tony? He didn't play a whole lot in the preseason, did he?
No, and the hype there was no hype coming out of camp with the Giants. I don't think he caught a pass until like day 10 or some there was some ridiculous, for whatever it's worth, training camp stat. He's in a different situation because he's a slot and Sterling Shepard is there and he's a more polished NFL slot receiver. I think Tony eases in as a change of pace type of player as he's learning the position, which might be kind of expected. He's young as a true receiver anyway, and so I'm not sure we're going to see nearly as much from Tony this year.
Marco Wilson, will he get a lot of playing time for Arizona?
Yeah, I mean it's one of the worst cornerback rooms on paper. It looks like Malcolm Butler was the one, and they were going to figure out who was the number 2 corner, and Malcolm Butler retires. And Marco Wilson had an excellent preseason. Obviously he had an up and down career at Florida with the injuries and everything, but there's an opportunity there. I mean, it's Marco, it's Robert Alford, Byron Murphy's the slot corner there. They don't have a whole bunch of depth in Arizona, so Marco Wilson essentially becomes one of the most important draft picks of the entire draft because Arizona needs him, and he's going to have to step in right away and play. Again, early returns in the preseason, Marco did look pretty good.
Yeah, a couple questions here on Facebook Live for you, and then we'll let you go. John asked, Steve, what are the projections for Washington this year? I think they could have the best defense in the league.
Oh, Washington, I mean, their defensive line is fantastic. It's all former first-rounders, guys that are good. Chase Young, ready to become an elite edge defender, and Montez Sweat's fantastic, and Jonathan Allen. And then they added William Jackson at corner. They've got depth everywhere. Jamin Davis coming in from the SEC to add some speed at linebacker. Defense is tough to predict year over year. So the thing working against your defense is only as good as the offenses you play sometimes. And Washington played some bad offenses last year, and they've got to play some better QBs this year. So the stats might not show it, but Washington's going to definitely be one of the tougher defenses in the league, especially because of that defensive line.
And Rick asked, Steve, have you graded Chris Rump of the Chargers during the preseason? He's a local kid, so a lot of people are interested in Chris Rump, the defensive end for the Chargers.
Yeah, we put production. Let me look him up right now. We put production grades on everybody in the preseason, so we do have all of that at PFF.com. What I did see, I saw one incredible bull rush that he had, length and power, and he looked like he bulked up a little bit. He was a little undersized at Duke, but he was a polished pass rusher. He had a really good pass rush grade for us actually in the preseason. So definitely a guy to watch as far as his development go, because he was really one of those edge linebacker type of tweeners. But he's a polished pass rusher who could definitely do some damage if he continues to develop and keep that weight up.
I have a college question. I'm sure you watched part of the Clemson-Georgia game the other night. How many, just off the top of your head, how many of those dudes on those two teams are NFL-type players?
Oh, my goodness. And, I mean, just the defenses alone were incredible. Georgia's defense, it was Jordan Davis just dominating, and he looks like an absolute monster, and linebackers are flying around. It was fun to watch. Those poor QBs, like, JT Daniels and Uiagalelei is supposed to be, future NFL prospects too. And, those dudes couldn't do anything against incredible defensive efforts on both sides of the ball. So, yeah, that was fun to watch. A heavyweight battle and a great way to kick off college football season. I love defense, man. I love offense, but I love good defense. And I think that's what we saw in that game.
And I want to say the number one rated quarterback in college football right now is a kid from, is it Nevada or Utah State?
Nevada's got Carson Strong, who looks like a legitimate NFL prospect for sure.
Is he like a Josh Allen type player? Because, I mean, nobody has really heard of him, because nobody watches Nevada.
I don't think he's got that type of athleticism. He's got a good arm. I hate putting anybody. Malik Willis from Liberty, I think, probably has the closest thing to a Josh Allen arm. You got to see that guy throw the ball around. But Carson Strong has a good arm in Nevada. And those are two of the guys to watch, Malik Willis and Carson Strong. We really like Spencer Rattler, even though he got off to a bit of a slow start for Oklahoma. But this quarterback class doesn't look as deep as last year. A lot of those guys, Sam Howell, guys didn't have a great week one. So it's not as clean as last year, but definitely some talent and some names to keep an eye on.
All right. Dan asked, will Dallas have a new kicker by next Sunday?
Probably, yeah. The kicking game didn't help last night, but they did, they stayed in it because of those turnovers. But, man, predicting kickers, as all the data that we have at PFF says, you can't really predict kickers. So good luck with that.
Okay, before I let you go, last question here. Who's in the Super Bowl and who wins it this year?
Man, I was picking Bucs Ravens until everybody got hurt on the Ravens. I might just stay soft and say it's a rematch, Bucs and Chiefs. I think they're the two best teams in the NFL. So let's say Bucs over the Chiefs. Again, Brady gets number 8.
Wow. Well, good stuff as always, Steve. Real quick, let everybody know how they can check out Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, over at pff.com, I think we still have a great discount, Kickoff 30. Get 30% off all of our subscriptions. We've got great fantasy stuff. We've got college grades there, NFL grades and stats. It's everything you're looking for if you're a football fan over at pff.com.
Hey, man, appreciate it. Enjoy the season, and we'll talk to you soon, Steve.
Sounds good. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's Steve Palazzolo from Pro Football Focus. They do a tremendous job. Got so much info for you. We appreciate him taking the time. I'm going to take our final time out on this Friday. Come back and wrap it up.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avera and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Center State Bank is now South State Bank, but they still put business first. Understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. South State has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking forward, member FDIC. I want to thank JC. He and I did our Peachland Dental weekend picks. Also want to thank Steve Palazzolo from Pro Football Focus for joining us on the Titan MRI hotline. He does a tremendous job. All those guys do there. It's amazing what they do. I picture them hunkered down in basements, just breaking down film 24 hours a day. But they do a tremendous job. Make sure you tell all your friends and family to follow our program on all the different platforms out there. It's a big weekend for the Gators traveling down to Tampa. If you're going there, be safe. It's going to be hot. Should be a lot of fun for the Gator Nation. Should be an easy victory. Hopefully everyone stays safe and we get ready for the Alabama Crimson Tide next week. Today's show's a wrap, brought to you by a Wrap Spot. Be safe, folks. Enjoy your weekend.